Pardon the interruption, but I'm Bomani Jones. Police in Tokyo have arrested a man for stealing more than 1,000 pairs of underpants.
I'm Frank Isola. Hold on a second. How does Kornheiser get to Tokyo now?
Oh, he would never go to Tokyo.
He's everywhere.
That's a long boat ride.
Golfing, stealing underwear overseas.
He also doesn't wear underwear, so, I mean, like, that's not.
What he always says. Welcome to PTI, everybody. Tony and Mike are on their annual couples retreat, so I am joined by my friend from ESPN, Bomani Jones.
Oh, you missed me. Even Jeff missed me. Get loud, Jeff. Tell everybody I'm here.
They never cheer like that for me, I'll tell you what. Paul George is in OKC. Venus is in the Wimbledon semis. But we begin today with the Yankees' Aaron Judge and Monday's entertaining home run derby in Miami. Judge created the type of buzz Major League Baseball desperately needs by becoming the first rookie to win the competition. One of those majestic moonshots traveled 513 feet, and afterwards, Commissioner Rob Manfred said that Judge, quote, can become the face of the game. So, Bomani, you just live a couple of home runs from Yankee Stadium now. So is Aaron Judge the biggest star in baseball today?
Look, man, if Aaron Judge is the biggest star in baseball today, Mike Trout has to be furious, right? Like, Mike Trout...
It's on the West Coast. It doesn't matter out there.
But Mike Trout has done enough to demonstrate that he is probably going to go down as one of the greatest baseball players of all time in a giant market, and we're already going Aaron Judge because Yankees, right? It's long home runs, it's big shots and everything else, but more than anything else, it is Yankees, which means, yeah, he could become the face of Major League Baseball because Yankees, like that part really helps when you're doing that. The only thing about it to me, though, is interesting is he's the face of this week. Like, this is the week that baseball owns because we don't have anything else. He's the face of right now. Is he going to be the face of anything by the time August comes around? Like, our home runs enough. We're having the biggest home run season of all time so far this year, but I don't feel like America's being captivated by baseball like it's 1998.
I think the biggest star right now is a guy that wasn't in the competition but was watching it, and that's Bryce Harper with the great beard and the great hair. He's accomplished a little bit more, and by the way, he and Judge are just about the same age. I will say this about Aaron Judge, and you brought it up. Just like you need the Cowboys to be good, you need like an evil empire, you need the Yankees to be the evil empire. So he has a chance now, Aaron Judge, to be that guy. When people talk about Chris Bryant, I think people think about the Cubs. They don't necessarily think about one player. So I think it's good for baseball that Judge can be that guy. He has 30 home runs at the break, and I'll tell you what he did last night, especially in that first round against Justin Bour, who was terrific. You know, he kind of brought some style to it. Not only was he hitting home runs, he took the timeout, ate the donut, which was kind of an NBA slam dunk contest to it. And then Judge goes out and beats him, and then, of course, he cruised to the finals. He was great. They said that he hit a 513-foot home run, and all his home runs combined were 3.9 miles of home runs. And that's what you're looking for in baseball. The Paul Bunyan type, the big, this big, strong guy, 6'7", 280 pounds. He's a monster out there.
But think about this from Manfred, though. A sport that normally doesn't like faces. Right now he's coming out and saying, okay, we want this guy to be the face because this is the guy that people are comparing to Derek Jeter. The thing is, it could have been real easy for Derek Jeter to be boring instead of stoic, except he was Derek Jeter. We're going to need some stories about Aaron Judge.
And he plays in the right market, too.
Yeah, you get on the right page in the New York tabloids, then Aaron Judge can become the star that they're talking about. Now, we've heard from Paul George for the first time since he was shockingly traded to the Thunder. Speaking with Lee Jenkins of Sports Illustrated, George tried to put a positive spin on his departure from Indiana, saying he told them he was leaving so they could get something for him. That was nice. He also said that his interest in the Lakers is overstated and that he'd be a fool to leave Oklahoma City if they were a title contender. Frank, are you buying that Paul George could stay in Oklahoma City?
You know what? I'm buying it if they go far enough in the playoffs. What worried me was in that same article, he twice used the word conference finals. And then he said, if we do something crazy like beat the Warriors, he's making it seem like we need to do a lot to keep me in Oklahoma City. He also said that Durant told him, this place will blow you away. It's a first-class organization. He's talking about the franchise, which is first class. He didn't say, hey, the city's going to blow you away, because Kevin Durant is the same guy who said, I got to leave to evolve as a man. So here's what I worry about if I'm Sam Presti, the GM. Durant left. I traded James Harden. I still haven't re-signed Russell Westbrook. Can you imagine? Harden I traded. Kevin Durant left. Paul George doesn't stay. And if Westbrook didn't stay, can you imagine being the guy in charge of that team?
Let's take this to another level, though. He says if they are a championship contender, which is right up there with if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. Like, how far do we think that the Thunder were for being a championship contender? Because to be fair, Paul George is not Kevin Durant, right?
Nope.
But Paul George is a really good player. With Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and what they put around them, they were a championship contender. Yes. Like, I think there's more intrigue with any of these teams with Oklahoma City than anybody else. Like, what is this team ultimately going to look like when they get out there? And how good do they have to be to keep Paul George? Because we talked about this, going 7 games with the Warriors, that wasn't good enough to keep Kevin Durant. It's not going to work for Paul George.
And remember, too, it's not just the Warriors. You have to be better than San Antonio. You have to be better than Houston, which just added Chris Paul. So it's difficult in the West to kind of navigate through it. I think they're better. I mean, you're going to get Paul George for Oladipo and Sabonis, aren't you? So you like the trade.
Oh, yeah.
But now it's just a matter of can they make it work? And, remember, Paul George, everyone talks about the Lakers, that he's going to go out there. He tried to throw water on and said, no, that's not my thing, but I'm not buying it, right?
He said his interest in the Lakers is overstated. The only person who was saying that is Paul George. That's the only person with any knowledge about this league who was saying it.
Yeah, and there's 2 teams in L.A. Let's remember that. All right, the champion Golden State Warriors are also winners in free agency by bringing most of the old gang back, including Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. They were also able to re-sign Andre Iguodala and Sean Livingston, mostly because Durant took a $9.5 million pay cut. Steve Kerr compared it to his old Spurs teammate Tim Duncan taking less to keep the Spurs core intact. Obviously, Kerr likes it, but Bomani, do you see this as a noble decision by Durant to take less to keep this going?
Okay, now, let's start by saying good for Kevin Durant, right?
Yep.
If his happiness is worth $10 million out of his pocket, then good for Kevin Durant. and I hope it's all the happiness in the world. So I don't want to take anything away from him. But it's not noble. It's as selfish as any other decision that anybody makes. This is what he thinks is the path toward what he wants. Like, we think about selfish as being just like a necessarily negative term. No, this is what he wants, and the way to get it is to pay the $10 million. So, no, I don't view it as being noble necessarily. The big reason I don't want to talk about how noble it is there's a dude over there that's got billions of dollars. Kevin Durant has millions. He has lots and lots of millions of dollars. That dude over there has got billions. So why does Kevin Durant have to pay his $10 million instead of Joe Lacob paying what it might be, $20, $25 million? He's got it, right? Yeah. Why is it always coming on to Kevin Durant?
But he is paying the luxury tax. I would say this, too. It's almost like he's buying good PR for $10 million because he took a big hit by leaving Oklahoma City. Absolutely. Now, he wins a championship. That changes a little bit. But now how do people perceive Kevin Durant? Wow, look at him, a selfless act, willing to take less to keep this going. Remember, next summer, that's when he can cash in. He can sign the big max contract. It'll eventually catch up to Golden State because at some point, they're not going to be able to pay one of these guys, and I tend to think it's going to be Klay Thompson. So I think it was smart that Durant did this. You have a chance to, do something special. You left Oklahoma City to win. So here you are. You've already won one. Maybe you could win another one. I think it's smart. To me, it's $10 million of good publicity for Kevin Durant because he's still going to make that money up somehow.
And also, let's note, not everybody would be willing to do this, right? Now, granted, he's already given them back discounts, but they wouldn't dream of asking Steph Curry to give back any of that money, right? Like, he got the super-duper max. Nobody was coming to him. Gordon Hayward could have given up what counts as a little bit of money here, and they wouldn't have had to trade Avery Bradley. No, he wanted every dime. So not every person is going to wind up do that, but everybody's got different paths toward what they want.
And wait till Gordon Hayward walks in that locker room, and they had to get rid of Avery Bradley for him, and they almost had to get rid of Jay Crowder for him. Be a little bit different between the two locker rooms.
A little different, a little strange. Lonzo Ball and his ringside manager, LeVar, helped make the Las Vegas Summer League the hottest ticket it's ever been. But fans were disappointed that another showdown with former Kentucky point guard De'Aaron Fox wouldn't happen when Ball missed the Kings-Lakers matchup with a groin injury. Of course, backlash against Lonzo's loud daddy is at a fever pitch, and many think Ball was ducking Fox as Fox lit him up twice in college. Iceman, do you think less of Lonzo Ball for not facing Fox?
A LeVar Ball kid ducking somebody? I am not buying it for a minute. First of all, let's think about today's NBA. You get a paper cut, they hold you out. This is the way the league is now. So now in Summer League, the slightest injury. Brandon Ingram is being held out with leg cramps. Leg cramps are a little bit of Gatorade and do some stretching and get back in there. So everything has changed. Yes, did he get embarrassed? And is De'Aaron Fox, a smart guy? He's very loquacious. He knows how to kind of dig under Lonzo Ball's skin. He sent out the emoji of a hand palm when he announced that he wasn't going to play in the game. I'm not buying that he's not ducking because you know what? De'Aaron Fox isn't going to be the best player that Lonzo Ball faces next year. There's going to be a lot of guys. So what are you going to duck every point guard in the NBA?
And see, I'm right there with you. You think LeVar is really going for his boy ducking somebody? Because LeVar, the way LeVar sees it, even if De'Aaron Fox obviously outplayed him in those two games, remember the first time UCLA won the game, that's what LeVar went to. It's like, hey, but we won the game. The second one, I don't even remember what his excuse was when that came. He only had a couple bad games in a whole season. It's not such a big deal. There's no way that he would be ducking him under that circumstance. And I think you're right. The Summer League games don't count for anything. They're not going to lose anybody for a game that does not count. But this does point out something. There's no way he's ducking him. I don't think anybody reasonable would think he was ducking him. But the backlash against a dude whose voice we don't even really know the sound of has really gotten loud here and has gotten counterproductive. And his dad's sitting there at the games and he's saying, hey, man, well, no matter what, you will wind up being entertained. Some of this entertainment is going to wind up coming at the expense of Lonzo Ball. I'm curious to see how he deals with that as the rookie year goes on.
By the way, Alex Caruso should thank Lonzo Ball for not playing. He got to play. He's a guy that spent time in the D-League, was undrafted, a kid out of Texas A&M. He had 18 points off the bench. He looks like he could run an offense. So you know what? He might have opened some eyes. If not a job with the Lakers, maybe with somebody else by Lonzo Ball not playing. But you know what? You can't go too crazy over Summer League like everybody else did. 10 years ago, nobody cared about Summer League. Now it's the biggest thing. All right. Right? The Chicago Bulls helped make the Western Conference stronger by trading their best player, Jimmy Butler, to Minnesota on draft night. Bulls general manager Gar Forman says he doesn't regret rebuilding in the weakened Eastern Conference, but with Paul George gone from Indiana and with rumors about LeBron possibly leaving Cleveland next summer, did the Bulls jump the gun by trading Jimmy Butler last month?
Okay. There is an argument that they did because the East would be wide open, one would think, if LeBron wound up leaving, right? Yep. It would be a no man's land. Get what you can get. The reason I don't mind the Bulls making that trade in spite of that consideration, at least they seem to have a plan now, right? Like, as before, they had no plan whatsoever. It's just, okay, we got Dwayne Wade. Well, how's that going to get you where you want to go? Ooh, I don't know. Yeah. Now, even if the plan is we're not using that plan anymore, there seems to be an acknowledgement of the fact that they did not have a plan, which one would think would be the first step toward actually developing a plan.
And you know what happens, too? What's gone on in Philadelphia, even though that team hasn't done anything, and Ben Simmons is yet to play a game, and you have Embiid's only played 31. Everyone embraces this whole idea now of rebuilding and getting young players. So you're John Paxson and Gar Forman, the management team there. You're under siege. So what do you do now when you have a team that's only made it to 8th place? You had to squeeze into the playoffs on the last day of the season. The smart thing to do is to rebuild. So I don't necessarily disagree either. And you know what? Right now, LeBron is in the East. You're not winning the East. Boston is getting better. I think Chicago actually did the right thing. Now, did they do it because they believe that this is a plan? Did they do it for self-preservation? It's probably a combination of both. I actually think it was a smart play. I like the moves that they make. I didn't think it was that bad to get young players because what you had wasn't working. Now the key is to get rid of Dwayne Wade and that $25 million he's got coming to him.
Yeah, good luck with that one, by the way.
Exactly.
Like, what do you think it would take to buy Dwayne Wade out? Because it reminds me of Stephon Marbury with the all-time classic, they're going to pay me all of my money. Once you know the team wants to buy you out, you have all the leverage. And Dwayne gave a lot of discounts back to the Heat. This is him getting that money back. Yeah. Good luck trying to get him off that deal.
They're going to try to trade him. And what they'll do is the first couple of months they'll talk about what a great leader he is. And Dwayne Wade is great. And at some point, he'll get a buyout, and he'll end up in either, Houston, Cleveland, the Lakers, the Clippers, fill in the blank. You know how that works. All right, okay, let's take a break. But coming up, Derek Jeter brings in Michael Jordan to buy the Marlins. Is the franchise worth their investment?
Oh, and could the Cubs really part ways with Kyle Schwarber?
Guess what? When they do the movie on Mike and Tony, you're going to play the young Tony. I'm going to play the young Mike.
That was actually what I was hoping would be the
This is from 30 years ago. All right, folks, it's time to fill in some blanks with What's the Word? Let's get the first one from our producer over the loudspeaker.
Derek Jeter and Michael Jordan would be blank to buy the Miami Marlins.
Oh, that would be brand building for the two of them. First of all, down in Miami, it doesn't matter who owns the team. It doesn't mean people are going to go out to watch baseball. It doesn't necessarily happen in Charlotte with Michael Jordan owning that team. I get it. They're two businessmen. Chances are 10 years from now they'll sell it. They'll make a fortune. If they do need a hitting coach, I would turn to Jeter with 3,000 hits as opposed to Michael Jordan, who had 3 home runs in his minor league career, by the way.
Now, to be fair, they had Barry Bonds as hitting coach and then fired him after 1 year.
Right.
So I don't know if they care that much about that. My word is optimistic because they are working on the optimistic assumption that you can make the city of Miami care about that baseball team. Now, does the city of Miami care about baseball? I have always been convinced that they do care about baseball. Do they care about the Marlins, at least to the point of actually going to a stadium to watch a game? Not so much. But to be fair to the people in Miami, that franchise started in 1993. They haven't won the division yet. Like, we don't have any idea what Miami would do if they had a really good team that was really good all the way through the year and not just getting into the playoffs on the wild card.
They do have 2 World Series. And guess what? Which group do you like better? Jeter Jordan, Jeb Bush, and Pitbull with his tight pants and his shirt tucked in like he had last night?
I'd rather see Michael Jordan rap than Pitbull.
All right, let's. What word we got next, Mr. Producer?
Reportedly offering Kyle Schwarber for Michael Fulmer shows the Cubs are blank.
Oh, I got the Cubs panicking on this one. This is a guy that hit .412 in the World Series. All we heard about, Kyle Schwarber, he's going to be one of the best hitters in baseball the next 10 years. All right, he's gotten off to a slow start. They sent him to the minors. But come on, a few months after winning the World Series, you're getting ready to get rid of a guy who's 24 years old with that type of hitting power?
I don't think that they are panicking. I do think they are a wee bit skeptical. Because, look, this trade offer that we're talking about here, they're trying to get an all-star pitcher back from Detroit, right? So it's not like they're just giving him away. So they feel like, hey, if we've got this guy who might be damaged goods because maybe we shouldn't have had him out here last year off that knee injury, then, if we can get an all-star pitcher back, we'll take back an all-star pitcher. We can go find another bat probably more easily than we can find an all-star pitcher. But if they don't get that, they'll probably keep it going with Schwarber, see where it goes. They seem to be in a position where they could easily make the argument, no, we still think we got something here, but we just couldn't turn down.
If you're the Tigers, do you trade a pitcher who's 20-13, 24 years old, for a guy who looks like he's going to be a designated hitter the rest of his career?
No, it's hard to sell anybody on making a trade for a dude hitting 200 at the moment.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, Mr. Producer, what's next?
Venus has a blank chance of winning Wimbledon.
I want you to follow me on this one. I got assistered, meaning an assist from Serena, who's not in this tournament. Serena being pregnant was the best thing that could have happened to the entire field, but guess who's taking advantage of it? The great Venus Williams, who, by the way, lost the Australian Open this year to her sister. This is an unbelievable story. She could be one of the oldest champions ever in the history of the tournament. She's been on an incredible roll. Kerber is out of the draw. Serena is pregnant. It's Venus's time. Unbelievable run. 2 more matches to win.
I am going to say she has a not-so-bad chance of winning this tournament, and my honesty is going to be the reason I say a not-so-bad chance, because I was walking in today, I looked up, I saw the television, it had Wimbledon, it had seeds, and the seeds were in the single digits, and it had names, and I didn't know who the hell none of those people were. Like, it is shocking how when Serena Williams is out of a tournament, like, all of a sudden the interest level is gone. Like, I did not know who those people happened to be. So I look up, I see, hey, semifinals, who have I heard of? Hey, Venus Williams, there we go. Basically, it's like you voting for the congressman that runs every year.
Yeah, it's really a great one for her. All right, one more, Mr. Producer. What do you got?
Last one. Simona Halep should feel blank about the way she lost today.
All right, we had a little controversy at the women's quarterfinals today at Wimbledon in a match between the local favorite, Jo Konta, and Simona Halep. This is match point with Konta serving. Take a look at this. That scream? I think that was our producer screaming. Who was screaming like that? By the way, how do you not replay that point? The chair umpire has the option to replay that. So I'm going to go with she felt cheated on that final point.
And how do you not replay that point? A little something called the home team. That is a British competitor. I don't think there's been a woman in the semis since 1978. I am going to say, however, that Halep should feel silly. She should feel silly. You got to hit the ball, man. You got to push through that. There's no way through it. Look,
that's an out screen when somebody does that.
Man, it's not as though she stopped to go into the crowd and try to save the day. All she did was hit that little piddly shot into the net at that moment. You got to keep going. Like, she has to look back at that and be like, it was silly of me not to hit the ball.
And now that you're a New Yorker, if this happened at the U.S. Open and somebody screamed from the crowd, the whole tennis world would be killing the U.S. Open, the Americans and New Yorkers. Sometimes we deserve it. In this case, they just let it play.
And you know what? My problem is in country club sports, learn to play with some noise going on, man. Everybody else got noise at their jobs.
She was cheated. That's the sport. That's how they grow up.
She didn't get cheated. She just can't handle a little more mental toughness. The whole sport needs it.
All right, enough noise out of you. All right, that's it. Let's take one last break. But still to come, Bryce Harper's idea to spice up the All-Star game.
Ooh. And a rescoring of Manny Pacquiao's most recent fight satisfy critics of the decision.
What if I didn't watch the original? Do I care what the rescoring was?
You're listening to Love Advice with Leanne. Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Leanne. Longtime listener, first-time caller. Why, in your professional opinion, do you never take my calls off the air?
Is this Carl?
Yep, it's Carl. I mean, we had a few dates. Everything was great. I thought,
Well, you know, when you switch to Geico, you could save a lot of money on car insurance.
Okay, awesome.
You should call them.
I will.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Happy time, everyone. Happy 64th birthday to Leon Spinks. You won a gold medal at the 76 Olympics in Montreal. And 2 years later, you became the undisputed heavyweight champion by defeating the greatest, Muhammad Ali, in a split decision. That monumental upset landed you and that classic smile on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Of course, then 7 months later, Ali defeated you in a rematch.
A national star primarily because of that gap in his teeth. Say thank you to that man, Michael Strahan.
Happy anniversary, Bo Jackson. On this day 27 years ago, you tracked down a fly ball at full speed, then proceeded to run along the wall, Spider-Man style, to avoid a violent collision. Of course, in 1987, you went out of your way to create a violent collision with Seattle Seahawks linebacker Brian Bosworth, and we all know how that turned out for the Boss.
The man I wanted to be like when I grew up. We interviewed him on Highly Questionable once. He called me Mr. Jones without me ever having to talk to him, and I just brought that up to stun on y'all.
Unbelievable athlete. Happy trails to all those ED ads during NFL games. The patents are running out for both Viagra and Cialis, so neither company feels the need to spend tens of millions of dollars in advertising when cheaper generic drugs will now be made available. The big win here, of course, is that we'll never again have to feel uncomfortable watching football games with our parents or our kids when those commercials come on.
Actually, now that I think about it, though, I would like to see the ads for generic ED drugs because maybe they'll be a little bit more sincere than the ones they're showing there, because that is not what them dudes are dreaming of when they go to the pharmacy. I'm just telling you right now, that's not how they dream of it
I
going.
might try out for those ads. All right, no errors today. All right, we're running out of show. Let's go to the big finish. An independent review confirmed Jeff Horn's controversial win over Manny Pacquiao. Are you buying it?
I mean, of course I'm buying it. How would anybody ever be skeptical of what you're told by a boxing organization? I mean, come on now. Who do you believe if you don't believe them? Bryce Harper would like to see a draft system for the All-Star game. Would you?
I do like this idea. I also like it for the NBA. What I'm worried about, though, in baseball, it better not turn into Latin America versus United States, though. All right, let's keep it, somewhat balanced here. Madison Bumgarner says his rehab is complete from that dirt bike accident, and he's ready to contribute. Is that significant?
I mean, it seems to be a little bit late in the game here, but I don't feel like the guy to tell Madison Bumgarner he can't do something because the man got married in a pair of jeans, and you worry about dudes like that. The Arizona Coyotes hired Rick Tocchet to be their head coach. Good fit?
It's a great fit. Here's a guy that was on the Penguins bench. They won a couple of Stanley Cups. He's put in his time. Excellent move by the Coyotes. All right, one last one, the Vegas Summer League tonight. Are you intrigued by anything in the Summer League?
Dennis Smith Jr. It is amazing how much more impressive he looks when he, doesn't actively dislike his head coach as he did in college. Now, I mean, he's got time with Rick Carlisle. That normally changes for point guard.
He's going to be the Rookie of the Year. Also, Sixers Celtics, no Markel Fultz, of course. All right, we're out of time. Thanks for watching. I'm Frank Isola.
And I'm Bomani Jones. PTI is bumped by the ESPYs tomorrow, but we'll be back on Thursday.
ESPYs? We're getting an Emmy.
I mean, I was about to say, I feel like this is a game.